Yeah, what's going on, everyone? It's your boy, Dead on Dave. Welcome back to the channel. We got a lot to get to today on this fine Monday, so let's kick the tires and light the fires, Big Daddy, shall we? Let's go. Yeah. Thank you guys for joining me once again right here on Dead on Dave Productions. It is Monday, so that of course means we're going to get into some wrestling news as well as touch on the Raw preview for tonight. Hope you guys had an unbelievably satisfying sports weekend. Kentucky Derby, golf. I'm sure there was some tennis going on, but high level everywhere. Boxing, just you name it. It was there this weekend. Wrestling, of course. New Japan Pro Wrestling had a huge pay-per-view over the weekend. It was really, really good. There's all kinds of things that went on. Make sure you guys are just out there looking at all the incredible things the old interwebs have to offer. As for me, on this wonderful Monday, what better way to start it off than talking about the Hulkster, brother? That's right, Hulk Hogan is hell-bent on wrestling at WrestleMania 32. Now, here's the thing. If you don't know, there's a couple things about Hogan that maybe you should be informed upon. First, Hulk Hogan's old as shit. He was like 60-something. He's old. He's fucking old. All right, that's a concern. Two, his body is shitty. I mean, like, really shitty. How do I know? Well, because he happens to have the exact same spinal cord stimulator in his body that I have in mine. And it sucks. And you can't take bumps with it. There's no friggin' way that he could actually take an actual bump with that. I mean, I was surprised he took anything at WrestleMania. Maybe I'm wrong because he did fall hard on WrestleMania, and honestly, I didn't think that was possible. So maybe he doesn't have that stimulator I thought he had. It was reported 4 or 5 years ago that he got it, and that does not come out. Maybe he got the temporary, because I got the permanent. It's fused into your spine. If he has it, it's forever, and it sucks. So, I don't know. It's pretty crazy. If he's wrestling with it, it's awfully dangerous. Awfully dangerous. But he has it for different problems than I do. His is all back pain related. Mine is nerve damage. A little different, but still, it's not a cool thing to have in your body and wanting to take bumps. So, I mean, there's that. But something else that you might not know about Hulk Hogan is he's friggin' nuts. He's crazy. He does what he wants when he wants to. And now that he is back within the good graces of the WWE and being a good soldier, he is really starting to make requests. And according to him, more like demands. So let's go to a quote by Hulk Hogan. And it's actually pretty disturbing just how batshit crazy it really is. Well, next year, Hulkamania is going to be where the Dallas Cowboys play at the AT&T Stadium. And next year, they're going to try to break my indoor attendance record. So I stopped Vince McMahon in the hallway and said, "Let me tell you something, brother. There's no way you're running WrestleMania next year without Hulk Hogan on the card." Hulk Hogan. Whether it's for my last Raw or it's my retirement match. Whether it's for my next run. Next run? Really? Or whether it's just to beat whoever's got the WWE title and become champion again. If you guys are in that stadium next year, I'm going to be there. And Vince McMahon shook my hand and said, "I look forward to it, brother." I know that's the worst Hulk Hogan ever in the history of anything, but I just felt like I had to do something that to try to get the insanity of what he was saying. So he kept going on, and I'll stop the terrible impression at this point. If it had happened, I'd want it to be the greatest match of all time, of course. If it's the end of my career and a huge emotional send-off, that would be great. Or if it's the beginning of another huge run for Hulkamania and me chasing the dream of winning the WWE title, that would be brilliant. I'm thinking very positively about getting back in the ring. He's absolutely lost his friggin' mind. The scariest thing about Hulk Hogan is he believes every word he just said. Every word of it. I don't know if Vince shook his hand. I mean, I look forward to it. Feels like a placating response at best. Yeah, Hulk, okay, Hulk, listen. Listen, I look forward to it. Thank you, Hulk. I look forward to it, Hulkster. Yeah, I can see that happening. I look, if it's gonna be a retirement match, who would it be against? You can't really have him against anybody of that great importance. I don't know what you can do with Hogan at this point. I really don't. He's been on this one more match thing for friggin' ever, it seems. And I don't know. It doesn't seem to make an awful lot of sense on any level. But neither does Hulk Hogan. It's what he does. He's absolutely insane. So what do you think? Should Hulk Hogan get one more match? Look, I am always been a Hulkamaniac. I love Hulk Hogan. Probably the greatest ring psychologist in the history of anything. He proved that a big body and knowing how to move around and elicit responses from a crowd can make you a wrestling superstar. You didn't have to have unbelievable athleticism. He certainly never had it. Didn't need it. Because he was able to work a crowd. He didn't know how to wrestle, but he certainly knew how to work. And that's the thing about Hulk Hogan. That's the great thing about him. He knew how to be that guy inside the ring and make things that probably shouldn't have been interesting unbelievably captivating. It's what he did, and I respect all of that. Do you respect it as much as I do? I don't know. Most of you probably have gotten a sour taste in your mouth about the old Hulkster. But if he were to have one more match, who do you think it would be against? Who do you think it should be against? Would this be something that would help sell you on WrestleMania 32? Or why not just have him host it or be a part of it in another way? There's no reason to have him get in the ring and possibly get hurt. He's in his 60s. That's insane. But you never know. Crazier things have happened. They let him take a bump this year, so who knows. Moving on to somebody else who wants to get back working for WWE on a more regular basis. The bad guy, Scott Hall. He is a huge fan of NXT, and he wants to get back into WWE and work with NXT. So why bore you with my words when I can read his? He did an interview on the Kevin Gill Show, and this is what he said about NXT. I'm a huge fan. Believe me, my goal is to someday have a position there. So I'm throwing it out there to whoever's listening, like Triple H, because he doesn't have his phone number. I'm sure he doesn't have his phone number. Sure, it's ridiculous. But anyway, I watch NXT all the time. I'm more involved in wrestling currently than I've been in a long, long time because I have a son who's on the scene. So now we got to watch NXT because those are his peers. Those are his competitors. Those are his coworkers and maybe his buddies down the line. That's who's going to be doing business. That's who he's going to be doing business with. We watch stuff from Japan, the UK, so I am immersed. I feel more immersed in the wrestling scene than ever before. And it feels really cool because Cody is so excited and so young, and I get to vicariously live through him and say, whenever you have a question, I'm here. So that's cool. That's cool. He goes on to talk about WrestleMania 31, Kurt Hennig, why helping the younger guys is so important, and just probably most importantly, about where he is in his life right now. It's a really, really good interview. I highly recommend check it out. That's on the Kevin Gill Show. So, and you can find it on iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. So make sure you check that out. It's a really, really good, captivating interview. I highly recommend it. Now, Scott Hall's been clean and sober for a while now, probably close to, 18 months or something like that. He's really turned his life around. But the question is, if you are running WWE, how much faith do you have that he has actually changed and going to continue on this path? Or, if you're Triple H, do you want Scott Hall anywhere near the future of the business? I mean, from a wrestling standpoint and like training, yes, this is a guy you want there. But you also worry about the possibility of him just completely going off the rails again. And if he does, he is subject to taking everybody down with him. It's kind of his MO. And it's sad. I hate to be so pessimistic about it. But, it is what it is in this situation. And as much as Triple H loves this guy personally, you have to always be cognizant of the fact that this guy could really affect the growth of what you're doing down in NXT, which is so good. Do you really want to mess with that by taking a risk? Now, on the other side of the other side, we're all about second chances in this world. Third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 28th chances. If a man truly wants to redeem himself and shows the ability to do so, even in a short period of time, doesn't he deserve the right to continue to try and do so on a bigger level? And if he has something to offer WWE, which in his head he clearly does, I mean, the stuff that is in his brain is beneficial to any young talent who wants to listen. So, I mean, it's really just how much of a leash does WWE want to have him on? That's what it comes down to it. So, what do you guys think about Scott Hall back in the WWE, helping out talents, and maybe even doing some on-camera stuff? I mean, he was great in all facets, and he looked really good at WrestleMania too. So, what do you guys think about that? Let me know. A little bit of change in the world of the roster. I've talked recently about Bray Wyatt and the possibility of a reformation of the Wyatt family. Well, that could be one step closer to coming to fruition, or at least something of a change here, as Eric Rowan has been working as a heel at the weekend's live WWE events. He lost to Sami Zayn in a match and also teamed with the Ascension to lose to the Usos and the Primetime Players in six-man action. This is all courtesy of WrestlingInc.com, my favorite dirt sheet website. And, look, with live shows, sometimes they have guys wrestle babyface or heel. It doesn't matter what especially in the lower cards, because it doesn't really seem to matter as much. They just, whatever the convenience is. But maybe they've decided that Eric Rowan would be better as just a monster bad guy type dude. Kind of use him in the same vein as like a Kane. Because that's who he reminds me most of, is Kane. I mean, maybe, especially Kane from 20 years ago. Just big, intimidating, crazy looking, and I mean, he's gonna do the big guy power moves. That's what he's gonna do, and for what he does well. I think it's when he tries to go outside of his comfort level is when you see the holes in Eric Rowan's game. The biggest problem is his inability to connect with the crowd. It seems like everyone just looks at this big goofy guy, the red hair and everything, and it's not working. He's not connecting. So I'm thinking he needs to either continue to work heel for real, go ahead, be heel on all shows, or, a reformation with the Wyatt family might be the best way to go. What do you guys think? Is a reformation with the Wyatt family the best thing for Bray Wyatt at this point? And what about his two wayward sons? What about Harper and Rowan, who have both found a little bit of success, obviously Harper a hell of a lot more, but have also both scuffled and not found any consistency. And, while Eric Rowan has disappeared, Harper has stayed on the scene but has really lacked consistency. So, of the two, obviously, Rowan needs Bray a lot more. But what do we think of a possible reformation? Is it necessary at all? I'd like to know what you guys think about that. Eric Rowan, I like him a lot, so I would like to see him maybe not even be with Bray, but what just about reforming a tag team with him and Luke Harper? And add some life to the tag team division. They could be a hell of a tag team on their own. And, how about those two and the Ascension? I mean, that would be a hard-hitting, nice fight to see. I mean, I don't know. These are two tag teams that you can use that are heels, maybe not even against each other, obviously, because they're both heels, but they're two tag teams that you could use that are different from all the other tag teams in the division right now, because they're big, brooding tag teams that are just beat people up. And we don't really have that. It didn't work the Ascension the first time, but they could tweak them a little bit. And the Wyatt family, when they were together, did work as a tag team. They were a great tag team. So you can have either one of those or both get back into the tag team division and really inject some life into a starting to come around tag team division. But two more teams getting right into the mix, especially with the New Day now, there's just so many possibilities. The only thing is they'd both be heel tag teams, the Ascension and the Wyatts, so it would be difficult to inject them into a tag team division that already has a top heel tag team. And the WWE doesn't seem really poised to bring in other tag team storylines at the moment. So it's going to be interesting what they decide to do. But whatever it is, I really do hope that they start using some of these guys like Rowan and Harper a little bit more effectively. I know it's difficult, but I mean, they're always talking about how many hours they have to fill, and it's not easy to fill all the hours. Well, you got more than enough talent that is not being used all the time. So there you go. And this is why I'm always going to continue to go back to the brand split because of this reason. Because when you don't have a brand split, the same guys continue to mainly get used on Raw and SmackDown, and it doesn't seem to be any really good turnover, and there's guys who continue to go unused. If you have a brand split, then you have separate rosters for each brand, and yes, you're going to see those same guys on those shows, but also you're going to see more guys on each show because they have to fill out the roster for each one. So they have to fill the exact same amount of matches, but they're going to have guys that they have to use. So there shouldn't be as much waste and stuff like that. That could be really good for the WWE, and especially for some of these guys who are just toiling down in the lower levels of the card right now. So, I don't know. Just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comment section below. Finally, let's get to the Monday Night Raw preview for tonight, May 4th. Oh, by the way, I didn't say it earlier. I'm sure people are wondering what's up with the Star Wars memes. Well, May the 4th be with you. I can't believe I forgot that it took me this long to friggin' say it. May the 4th be with you all. Happy Star Wars Day. It's one of my absolute favorite days. So that's what's up with the Star Wars memes that are in there today. Enjoy them. I hope you guys love Star Wars as much as I do. I'll be going on a Star Wars bender here very, very shortly. So back to what I was saying. The Monday Night Raw preview for tonight. Going forward, getting closer to the next pay-per-view, which is Payback, I guess. It really comes down to a few things. For me, the most compelling thing is the United States Championship situation is I really want to know. I always want to know who's going to be the next guy to challenge John Cena. And is there any possibility of Cena losing? I doubt it. This is in Canada tonight. Remember, this is Montreal, which I believe is Sami Zayn's home, which I believe is also, I think they're both from Quebec, I believe. Kevin Owens, I believe they're both from there. And many other great Canadian wrestlers. So you never know what's going to happen in Canada. Are we going to see Bret Hart tonight? Are we going to see, you can see Jericho. You can see any Canadian tonight. It's great. I doubt Jericho. I just threw out a Canadian. I froze for a second. Forgot a Canadian. So it's just like I just reached for the most convenient Canadian I could find. It should be a really interesting show tonight because Canada has great fans, and usually the crowds are fantastic. Different type of crowds usually, but very fantastic and into the wrestling. And they're going to be expecting a certain amount of action. So, what kind of surprise will they have in store? Is John Cena going to defend against a Canadian wrestler? That would be kind of fun to see. And if so, they got a couple guys down in NXT that are from Canada, from that area, from Quebec, from Montreal. You might as well bring them up, right? Or not. Or not. Another thing to talk about, of course, is the Ryback Bray Wyatt situation. How is that going to continue to evolve? And does anybody really care? I think that's the biggest thing. Wyatt can't just continue to attack, and we got to see these two around each other now to see if the crowd reacts to it. And we got to see an actual segment with the two and not just Ryback getting jumped from behind. I think that's an important thing. Another question is, yes, we know that Roman Reigns and Randy Orton are in the main event in the triple threat match against Seth Rollins. But Ambrose is kind of locked into this thing with the Authority right now, with Kane and the rest of the Authority. So is that going to be Ambrose's spot right now, to continue to feud with the Authority so he's in the atmosphere for when this next pay-per-view Payback is over and they need a new challenger for Rollins? Is that the whole point of keeping Ambrose this close to the storyline by having him feud with the Authority? So that's going to be a question that's going to have to get answered because he's running out of things to do. Probably the last big thing outside of, Rollins, and if he's going to continue to act like a big bitch tonight, like he's been every single night, I hope that he will start manning up a little bit and not being such a whiny bastard. The last big question really has to do with BNB, Bad News Barrett. And what is he going to do now that he is the King of the Ring? He'll be making his first televised appearance since winning King of the Ring. He was not on SmackDown. So what is he going to do when he finally does emerge? Is he going to go full-blown regalness and decorum and all that good stuff? Or is he just kind of be who he is, but with more of a little bit of a flair of the regality about him? Is he going to actually... Does he have any power? I mean, everybody keeps talking about these guys making decrees and all of that. Well, maybe we should be let in to know exactly how much power the King of the Ring actually has. Do they have any? Can they do things? Can they decree policies? Or is he just going to be saying things that are going to be ignored by everybody? That's very possible too. That's kind of been the deal in the past. But the most important thing is, where does he go from here? Is he going to go after any title? Is he just going to be continued to be in a feud with Neville? Is that going to be his first point of business, is to go after Neville and try to end this feud now that they've beaten each other? Because yes, he beat Neville at King of the Ring, but just a few nights before, he lost to Neville at a pay-per-view. Granted, on the pre-show, but at a pay-per-view nonetheless. That's a big loss for a guy like Barrett. So you got to figure we're going to see another match between these two, even though I'd like to see Neville move on. So the question now is, what are you guys excited about Raw for? Are you excited about Raw at all? Let me know in the comment section below. And, check us out a little bit later here on Dead on Dave Productions, because myself and the great Jeff Huffman will be going one-on-one talking about baseball on the epic baseball program Touch 'Em All right here on Dead on Dave Productions. So make sure you check that out as well. Check out all my good friends. You see the little logos down on the screen here. Joe Cronin Show. Joe Cronin doing everything in his power to be amazing each and every single day. Did a great video recapping all of the big news stories in wrestling, and he hit it really quick. Very funny. I highly recommend checking that out. And of course, my good buddy Tommy C over at Shot from the Point. Shot from the Point live last night. Absolutely hilarious. You listen. Hopefully, Jeff, when he comes on my show today, I won't need to pump him full of Xanax to get anything out of him. We'll see. Should be quite interesting. So make sure you check out Shot from the Point as well. You can catch me there on In the Crease with Tommy C Monday through Thursdays. And coming up here in about 10 days or so, Tommy's going on vacation because he's getting married, and yours truly is taking over his channel. So I'm going to be pulling double duty and running 2 channels. I hope I don't kill myself. It's very possible. Finally, thanks everybody for participating in Dead on Dave Live yesterday, 1 to 3 p.m. each and every single Sunday. Had a great show yesterday, a lot of fun, a lot of great callers. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Your support, as always, is so important. So thank you guys very much for all of that. We appreciate everything that you do for us here. All the likes, all the subscriptions, all of it. The sharing, it just means the world. So continue to like, subscribe, and share. And we'll see you next time right here on Dead on Dave Productions. And remember, kids, if you're not talented, have talented friends. We'll see you next time. Peace.